Well, you know Steve Melewski, MASNsports.com beat writer for the Orioles, been covering the team for quite some time. Steve, what we need to talk about first is not only have you been writing about the team and blogging for quite some time, but you're actually doing some play-by-play work this spring training.
I am having a blast. Equal parts exciting and terrifying and fun and every emotion under the sun. So, you know, the Orioles, I think, made a great decision for their fans, and hopefully I'm helping them implement that decision by doing some play-by-play this year on Orioles.com and the MLB At Bat app. And essentially any game that is not on either the Oriole Radio Network or MASN or both is on Orioles.com, all but one. So it's great for the fans, Sarah. Every day they know they'll get a broadcast on one outlet, and you're doing it by yourself, but we're having some great guests. And of course, you're welcome in anytime while you're down here. Please stop in and say hello. And we talked to some MASN people, and Gary Thorne popped in. I've never been on the air with Gary. That was a thrill for me because that's cool. Gary Thorne, for crying out loud. So that was fun. And the Orioles have got us great guests, Mike Elias. Sig Mejdal was on yesterday. So it's been awesome fun, and hopefully it's going pretty well.
It definitely is. I've been listening. Good for you, Steve. That's really exciting. Now, you've covered the team for so many seasons. You've seen camps been run in all different types of ways. What I want to know, Steve, and I've been picking everyone's brain that's covered the team longer than I have in the past few seasons, what do you think about this camp? How does it differentiate from what you've seen in the past?
It's kudos to Brandon Hyde and his staff. I'm not sure exactly how they did it in such a short period of time, but they have created a relaxed atmosphere, but it's still intense. And so the players are getting their work in, as they say, particularly young players. This is big, and we've had them tell you, and they've told me, they're relaxed.
Yeah.
And for these young kids trying to make a team, this is huge. This is like the playoffs to them. A spring training game to a veteran, okay, it's a spring training game, but it's not that for Diaz and Hayes and Josh Rogers and these young kids, Jacobonis, and we could name so many. They're thriving. Look at all the young kids and look at their stats. They're doing great down here. That's what the Orioles want. Whether they break north with the team or they go to the minor leagues and put up numbers to get back here, this is the best thing about this camp, how the young kids are relaxed, allowing their true talents to show, and it bodes well for this team so much.
Steve, one of your specialties is truly covering the minor leagues and seeing these top prospects. So for you, this has to be really exciting. And I need to pick your brain on some of these young players that I personally haven't been able to see much before this spring training camp. And one in particular is a guy like Ryan Mountcastle. He gets called, you know, to come to big league training, and he's been so successful in the minor leagues. What are his realistic goals for this spring training and moving forward, assuming he's not going to break camp, but he could be a late call-up?
He could. And, you know, Mountcastle, we know the bat will play. We think it will play. Maybe play big time in the majors. Maybe middle of the order big time. We'll see. I mean, he put together a great year at Bowie last year at 21, so that's exciting. And, you know, I watched your interview with Mike yesterday, and I know he told you that he's going to play some third, he's going to play some first, and he might even play some left. So I think the Orioles are doing the exact right thing. When that kid's in the minors, put him at different positions. If he makes a mistake in a double-A game, so be it. That's where you're supposed to make them as you're learning and developing. Mountcastle, as you know, is a great kid. He's not afraid, as Buck would say, our friend Buck. We remember Buck so fondly and all he did here, and that would be a right statement about Ryan. He's not afraid. He's an intense kid, but he you know, that bat, quick hands, quick bat. He can hit to all fields, and so I think they'll find him a position he will play adequately enough to help the Orioles probably this year.
Steve, the outfield is an area where there's lots of depth in the Orioles organization. I'm talking about guys like Yusniel Diaz, Austin Hayes, Joey Rickard, and so on. In your opinion, you look at the players now, who's realistic to be an everyday outfielder at the start of camp? Because Yusniel Diaz could, you know, easily be thrown out there, don't get me wrong, but does he need more time in AAA or AA? And guys like Austin Hayes, who's hitting over 350 here in spring training, but, you know, he hasn't had much time in the big leagues. He's been injury prone. In your opinion, when you look at the players now, who's realistic to break camp as the outfielders? I
mean, maybe Hayes might be the most realistic because he's already been here, and he's having a big camp, and people are so excited about Diaz, and they should be. This guy's swinging it great. But it could be, Sarah, that, and it's a little less exciting, but we might see the Orioles break opening day with a Joey Rickard in right, or Eric Young's having a great camp. Rickard is too, by the way. I mean,
absolutely.
Don't forget Joey. He's playing well down here. And so the fans may say they want to see these up-and-coming top prospects, and they might have to wait on them because Mike Elias knows this is a multi-year situation.
Sure.
It's not all going to happen in 2019. He's got to think about things like service time and clocks and all that stuff that we don't always consider, but it's important. And so he's got to look. He told me when he was on with me, I got to err on the side of development when it comes to these young players. Do what's best for their long-term and the organization's long-term. So some of these young outfielders, they're looking like they could be on this team opening day. But if they're not, I think the fans should keep in mind they're on the come. They've done great things down here, and we're going to see them. It's just a matter of when.
Steve Melewski, thank you so much for the time.
You got it. My pleasure. Maybe tomorrow it'll be warmer here, but we're not complaining.
I did it yesterday.
We actually have some, like a jacket on
I
here.
complained yesterday, and I apologize to everyone. It's like 45. It's probably way colder in Baltimore, so I'm sorry for bringing it up again. But yes, it is chilly. Steve, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Everyone that's watching can, of course, listen to your games on MLB At Bat.
Absolutely, and congratulations to you on being the on-field reporter.
Thank you.
All this coverage MASN All Access is doing down here. Paul, I know we're going to see more of Paul, all the folks behind the scenes. It's incredible what you guys are doing, and you're going to rock it this year on those broadcasts.
Let's end on that. Drop the mic.